What's up, everyone, and welcome to a special episode of PowerBomb Weekly. I've never said that. I've never said that out loud. It sounds weird. I
have not.
am your host, Papa Sunkiller, Dan.
Damn, you forgot?
I've never introed my nickname before. I usually just say Dan. It's so weird. Accompanied by Eslam, God of the Sun. See how easy that was?
Yeah, okay.
I can intro you. So we recorded an extremely long 14-hour session for the LWG podcast this past week.
Yeah,
I'm exaggerating guests. Only a little bit. We had special guests, Mogar Man and Mike, returning guest. You can see that. Check it out on our YouTube and our podcast and everything there. So that's going to be up live right now. But we said, you know what? We have a lot of wrestling news. A lot of important wrestling thing has been happening. And we said we got to do a separate one. So it's just me and Eslam. We're going to talk about what's been going on in the world of wrestling. So Eslam.
Yeah, Disco was a bad boy, so we locked him up.
Yeah.
In the basement.
He's in a headlock somewhere.
He's a sex slave somewhere right now.
Jesus Christ. That went a whole... I just thought of Val Venus. Remember that? I choppy your pee-pee?
Yeah, I actually do remember that. Why is that something I remember and I forget everything else?
The funny thing is, I forgot about that until years ago. Rudy brought it up, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And he showed me. I was like, oh, my God, I do remember. It's the Katana, the porn star, the guy who had his dick cut off in real life. It's a whole thing. Go check it out. But in this episode, yeah, we got some big stuff to talk about. So I haven't talked about Cody Rhodes in a while on PowerBomb Weekly. So
yeah, he's back at WWE.
He was. So
he got fired?
Hang on. So Cody Rhodes has basically been the top guy in WWE since he got there. Vince McMahon's like, you know what? I'm going to give you the shot. I'm going to go out there. And Cody's been killing it on the mic like he always does, having amazing matches. The only problem is he's been feuding with the same guy since he got there. So he's been fighting the same guy since he got there at WrestleMania. How long ago did we talk about WrestleMania, Islam? Forever ago. It was in April. Yeah. So it's really not that long ago, but it feels like forever ago in the world of wrestling.
Yeah.
And it's Seth Rollins, and they have great matches. So this past week on the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, they fought in a Hell in a Cell match in the main event. And the thing is, beforehand, it was announced that Cody Rhodes had suffered an injury. He had torn his pectoral muscle. And he's like, well, I'm still going to fight. And I was like, oh, okay, that's tough. I've seen pec injuries happen in wrestling before. It doesn't work out good. And apparently it wasn't that he had just torn it. He had torn the pec off completely.
Oh, shit.
So
Don't
they
you
go
need
out.
Surgery for that?
Yes, you do.
So
Jesus. This happened either on the Raw before the pay-per-view or during training for the match. And he torn it off, and he got the okay to wrestle because they said it can't get any worse. That was their reasoning. So which is true, but granted, you could still do other things less than at your...
You tear your shoulder, your rotator.
Yeah.
That muscle is not attached, so you're compensating somewhere.
So, yeah, and Cody claimed that it was all his decision, and they gave him the okay. That does very much seem like a Cody Rhodes thing. The man set himself on fire in AEW.
How are these doctors still employed?
I'll get to Ric Flair later. So...
Oh, God.
So Cody, he goes out. First, you have Seth Rollins comes out, and he's wearing the Dusty Rhodes polka dots, like the infamous Dusty Rhodes clothing. I was like, oh, man, what's Cody going to do? Cody takes off his big, like, badass jacket that he always has, and he has a bruise that looks horrible. I've never seen something so bad on his entire pec and his arm and everything, and you could see the man could barely lift his arm up. They proceed to go on and have one of the best Hell in a Cell matches I've ever seen.
Nice.
Cody was badass. Like, he's doing all these moves. Apparently they had to change some stuff up. Like, he was going to hit a moonsault, which is a backflip or whatever. Knowing Cody, he probably would have tried to do it off the cell. So they said, hey, you're not allowed to do that. So they did some stuff. At one point, he does pull out a bull rope, which is an old school wrestling thing, and he wrapped it around his wrist and told Seth to wrap it around yours, and they had like a little mini bull rope match in a Hell in a Cell, which is amazing.
Okay.
And they keep fighting, and after using multiple weapons, sledgehammers and everything, Cody Rhodes hits Seth with his finisher. Also hit him with a pedigree.
Jeez.
Triple H's pedigree, which is a whole nother thing. And Cody goes on. He wins the match, and then it was announced that he's going to have surgery. He's going to be out 6 to 9 months. But he just wanted to make sure he got that last match in. And apparently WWE was doing filming during all this like training and everything, because they're going to try to make a documentary thing out of him with the pec injury still fighting through. So yeah, I guess I'm on the fence on whether or not it was a great decision. Who am I to say? Cody knows his own body. It's WWE's business, but man put on a hell of a match in a very injured state. Not many wrestlers could pull something like that off, but
yeah.
shout out to Cody Rhodes. Man's a fucking monster. So there was that. Quick one I want to mention is last episode I talked about MJF, who had the big pipe bomb.
Yes.
Talked about Tony Khan and everything.
At AEW.
So, yeah. So
go check out that video on PowerBomb Weekly.
Absolutely, that was last week's video. So during that, I want to say they were in California. They moved over. They did like a show in a different location. MJF stayed behind, and he was auditioning for a couple Hollywood roles because man does not want to be in AEW anymore. Yeah. So apparently he's got something lined up in animation. He did some type of voiceover work that we're gonna find out at some point, and cool. He's still trying to do some other stuff. So that happened, and the TNT, like Warner Brothers execs and everything, they came up with this mandate that MJF is not allowed to be in any promotional media for AEW now. So it's like you have the actual execs, or like he's not allowed to be in like the intro video or for either Dynamite or Rampage, which he wasn't, and people saw that they took him out and they replaced him with like Christian and stuff. Okay. So yeah,
does Warner Brother own AEW? Is that
they own TNT?
Flag? Oh, right. Okay.
So their shows are on TNT and TBS.
Okay.
So yeah, so the MJF is not allowed to be on those promotional things, and he was not on Dynamite or was mentioned on. On Rampage, or was not mentioned on Rampage that Friday either. Just no mention of MJF. So want to know? Can't wait to see what's gonna happen more with that. Another quick one.
Sorry, before we move on, I don't exactly remember why he hates AEW so much. Like, what did they do to him?
He wants more money, and he's not being given more money. But remember, I've been talking about it for a while. We always joke about how WWE is firing everybody. AEW is hiring everybody. So a lot of what they're doing is hiring ex-WWE guys, and MJF, you don't know how much is storyline, how much is real, how much isn't, but he has been upset in the past. Like, before this became a storyline, he has mentioned, like, hey, in 2024, my contract's up. I'm going to go to whoever the highest bidder is, regardless if it's AEW, WWE, whoever. And now he's starting to say more and more. It's like, you keep bringing in these ex-WWE guys who got fired, and they're getting paid more than me. Yeah. Yet I've been here, and I've been putting this company on my back since day one. Which MJF is a big part of. The show we went to, he had a match against Cody. It was a big, high-profile match.
I do remember that match with Cody. Yeah.
So, moving on away from AEW for a sec, Ric Flair, as I've mentioned in the past, Ric Flair has a match July 1st. Still don't know who the opponents are, but it has sold out.
More than one?
Remember, we talked about it was going to it's most likely going to be some type of a tag team thing, so that he doesn't have to do the brunt of the work. He could have people in there. Sense. So it's still looking like it's probably going to be FTR as his teammates, who are a badass tag team, and he's probably going to be going up against the Rock and Roll Express, who are like in their 60s, but they still wrestle regularly. We still don't know all the details of that. But with that being said, this is Ric Flair's last match. This is his last hurrah, right?
Yeah.
He just recently said, I want to do another match. I'm calling out Vince McMahon. I want to fight him at SummerSlam. He wants to fight Vince McMahon at SummerSlam.
This dude, man. Listen, I think he's crazy for doing this, but to be still working like that at his age, after the stress and fatigue that he's put in his body all these years doing WWE and wrestling and being a star and having to do all those shows, which, what is it, like they work like 360 days a year or something?
It's like 300. It's over 300, yeah.
So it's just
that's
like,
WWE, but yeah, the man does that. Plus he's in every rap video. Yeah. Like he does a million other things too.
So, but hey, you know what? An object in motion stays in motion, right? If you want to be his age and still be like moving and do that, you have to keep moving. You know. So I commend him, and as long as he's making sure to take care of his body and staying healthy, and like he's been working out for a while to get back in shape. So I hope he's healthy and he doesn't die in one of these matches. Like,
well, this Vince McMahon thing's not going to happen. It's
No,
WWE has to
I
okay
it,
it. You
yeah.
know, Vince has to okay it. But
when
we'll
was
see.
the last time Vince wrestled?
WrestleMania. Remember we talked about it on the podcast back in April.
This past WrestleMania?
Yeah.
God damn.
He wrestled against Pat McAfee. It was a whole thing. Rudy was like so happy he was crying over it. And then remember Stone Cold stunnered him, and he received the stunner
He
horribly.
did the horrible fucking.
Yeah, he took the stunner worse than anyone ever has.
Oh my god! And Mick Foley was fucking laughing at him on Twitter. God, that was
the world was laughing with Mick.
Dude, I saw that. It was so bad.
No.
It was so bad.
Now, think
I forgot
about
it. Yeah.
Think about the 73-year-old Vince McMahon fighting. Ric Flair fighting the 76-year-old Vince McMahon. Just 1-on-1.
I would love to see that. I would love to see that. It will be called the geriatric match, like you said before.
Mm-hmm. Sponsored by the AARP.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, with that being said,
funny.
apparently Ric Flair had been approved by 40 doctors to say he's okay to wrestle. So it's out there.
All of them should be fired.
which has me move on to Paige, WWE employee Paige.
Mm-hmm.
I say employee because she got injured a while ago and because of a serious injury was forced to not wrestle, similar to what Edge had happened to him years ago.
Yeah.
So Edge finally came back years later. So Paige just recently stated that her WWE contract is up on July 7th, and she's no longer going to stay within WWE. She was doing some behind-the-scenes stuff, and she was doing different things. I know she has a big following on Twitch. She's been getting bigger on Twitch. But she stated that she is going to be leaving WWE. She's thankful for everything. They gave her a chance at the young age of like 18. Like they moved her over from England to Florida and everything. And she did state that she is going to wrestle eventually. Doctors have been slowly approving her. She is working her way towards getting back to wrestling. She doesn't know where it will be, but she does claim that she will be wrestling at some point in the future. So hopefully she's in good condition. Hopefully she can do it. She's still very young. She's in her mid to late 20s, if that. So she, and still badass wrestler. So I mean, The Rock made a whole fucking movie about her.
Okay. Isn't she the one from Jersey, or no?
Nope.
Okay.
No, her debut on TV, she wrestled against the one from Jersey, AJ Lee, CM Punk's wife.
AJ Lee, right? Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'll be getting to CM Punk in a bit. But next up, I want to talk about the Best of the Super Juniors. So Best of the Super Juniors happened. I've been talking about it on the podcast. I said last week in the finals it was Hiromu Takahashi versus El Desperado. I was like, you know what? I'm just throwing out a guess. I'm going to say I think Desperado's going to win. I'm giving it to Desperado. That's my guess. And proud to say I was incorrect. Hiromu Takahashi wins. I get very excited when I'm wrong because it means like it's still surprising for you. To me. Yeah. So Hiromu Takahashi wins. This is his third year in a row winning Best of the Super Junior, and his fourth time ever winning Best of the Super Junior. Just 1 year removed, it was won by Will Ospreay. So he's moving on. He's gonna, who was just on AEW this past Friday and Wednesday.
Nice. He really should make a cleaning brand that's Ospreay.
I mean, he doesn't need to. He's pretty successful without it.
I know. It's still money. It's a side hustle. Everybody needs a side hustle, bro.
I guess.
Doesn't matter how rich you are. That's how you get
the leader of the United Empire. That's all he needs.
Listen.
Yeah.
Side hustles.
You had nothing to say when I let you say. You said listen, and I was like, go ahead. What do you got to say? You didn't have shit. You didn't have shit. You just said side hustles again. So Hiromu Takahashi
tell me
wins.
a cleaning brand that's Ospreay wouldn't be cool. With his face on it, like Mr. Clean.
Sure. So what? It's just him and a mosquito?
Yeah, why not?
Hiromu Takahashi wins Best of the Super Juniors, and good for him. It means he's going to be going into Wrestle Kingdom, going up against the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. Yes. So we'll see how that ends up for Hiromu. Now on to CM Punk, my last news story. Remember I said CM Punk at the pay-per-view, he won. He's the AEW World Champion. Mm-hmm. So he on Wednesday, I also stated that he was like, "Hey, I'm going to fight at the Forbidden Door against somebody from New Japan," and it was revealed that it was going to be Hiroshi Tanahashi. Mm-hmm. Hiroshi Tanahashi. Jeez, I'm not feeling with the Japanese today, Eslam. I'm not feeling.
Yeah,
it.
What's happening?
I don't know. I'm used to doing this on Thursdays.
It was that chicken. It made your mouth
It was
greasy.
the chicken. It was real greasy. Real greasy. If you're listening to this, you got to go into the YouTube version to see what happened. Give us that view. Give us that light.
Yeah.
So CM Punk, he was on Dynamite, and before Rampage happened that Friday, he put out a tweet. It said, "I will be on AEW Rampage live tonight with an important announcement in regards to the AEW World Championship and my career. Please tune in."
Oh, shit.
So the show goes on. We get to the point where Punk comes out. He's limping out to the ring. He has tears in his eyes. And he goes on to state that he's injured very badly, to the point that he's not going to be capable of wrestling for a bit. He's going to have to, he stated he's going to have to relinquish the AEW World Championship, not even a week after winning it.
Damn.
Turns out that he had broken a foot, suffered a broken foot. I believe it was on Dynamite. And he was going to have to give up the title. And he, for a second, he even said, I was like, I thought this might have been it. Because, like, I haven't felt this hurt in a very, very long time. Like, I've been injured and stuff, but not like this.
Mm-hmm.
So, he, since then, he has had the surgery. He's supposed to be back a couple months, I guess. But he had to give up the belts, or so he said. Later on, it was revealed by Tony Khan that CM Punk is going to remain the AEW World Champion. He's going to introduce the Interim AEW Championship, where if you know anything about boxing or MMA or whatever, there's interim champions who were champ till the original champion could come back. This met some backlash online because a lot of people were just like, well, if he doesn't have the belt, just let him give up the belt. He even said himself that he wanted to give it up. And Tony Khan said no, because this just has a regular built-in match later on that we can build a storyline on top of, where you have whoever's been winning the belt and defending it all this time. Now he has a match against Punk. That's a money match right there.
Which makes sense.
It does. Yeah. But it's wrestling purists where it's just like, especially with WWE, it's like, hey, you have a belt, you're injured, you got to drop the belt. So that's just been like set in people's minds, and they think that's the norm.
Hey, motherfuckers, this ain't WWE.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah. So
why are people so adverse to change? Like,
no. Dude, you look at it online, and there's it's funny because I'm a fan of all wrestling promotions, but you look at it online, and there's the moment somebody says something like on Twitter about, oh, this cool episode of AEW, look at the comments. Oh, this is just that stupid indie show where all the WWE got ex-employees are over there and all this other shit. Then you have the AEW guys like, yeah, but WWE sucks because this, that, and the other. I was like, bro, they both have quality. Like, they both have a lot.
What did you think of that decision? Like, what
the
was
interim thing?
What was your initial gut reaction to it?
First I was surprised because Punk did say he was gonna give it up,
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, I'm hearing Tony's like, no, he's still champ, and I thought it's interesting. I want to see, because that's just like Tony Khan said, that builds towards a story. Yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's like
you're a huge wrestling fan, and like maybe you're not like a purist, or like you're very like open-minded to things changing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's interesting to hear your thoughts, like your initial gut reaction about it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, how many times has it happened in wrestling history where you have two guys hold one belt and you have to figure out who the true champion is? That's a tale as old as time. That's been around for forever. One of the most famous ones was Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, the ladder match at the Intercontinental ladder match at WrestleMania. So CM Punk had one with John Cena. Like, that's been happening throughout wrestling history. It's just that again, except the only difference is they're throwing in the word interim. Yeah. And people are obsessed. That means it's not real.
So one got injured, and then one took it, and when the injured one came back, they're both called champions, and now they have to fight to see who's the champion.
Who's the undisputed champion at that point?
So interim is the same thing, it's just they added interim in front of it, like you said.
Exactly.
So
that's
why
all
the
it
fuck
is.
are people upset?
Because they think interim means less than. They think it means you're a paper champion, you're not a real champion, this, that, and the other. But this guy's going to be holding a belt, and the company's going to be on his back. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's what a champion is in wrestling. Like, you're the face of the company. But anyway, Tony Khan did come up with in a Tony Khan fashion, a weird way of how to decide on an interim champion. So what he decided is that there was going to be a battle royal match, the AEW kind, where you have 5 come at a time and stuff like that.
Okay.
And the winner of that is going to be facing Jon Moxley, who there's a little bit of weirdness here, where Jon Moxley, the number 1 contender, who technically wasn't the number 1 contender until Tony Khan made this announcement. It was supposed to be Wardlow, but he moved stuff around, and some people caught it. But anyway, fighting against Jon Moxley. The winner of that is going to be facing the winner of Hiroshi Tanahashi and Hiroki Goto over in New Japan Dominion, the New Japan pay-per-view, which name I can't remember, which is another weird one because it's like Tanahashi was already going to fight Punk for the title, so why does he have to qualify now? Mm-hmm. So that is what it is. So it's Hiroshi versus Goto, and that match is supposed to be tonight, June 12th in Japan.
Okay.
So winner of that most likely is going to be Tanahashi. He's going to fight the winner of the other thing. The Battle Royal ended up being won by Kyle O'Reilly, who went on to fight against Jon Moxley. Moxley won in the end, very hard-fought match, but it was kind of like a given. Like, we knew it was going to be Mox. Mm-hmm. So now we're going to have Mox versus most likely Tanahashi. Winner of that is going to be the interim AEW World Champion, and that's going to take place at the Forbidden Door joint AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling pay-per-view. So it should be a badass match. Moxley's been calling out Tanahashi for a while because Moxley kind of is also a New Japan wrestler. When before the pandemic happened, he was allowed to travel back and forth. So he's been saying, I want to fight Tanahashi for a while. So now, due to weird circumstances, but we're getting there. Mox versus Tanahashi. So, Mox versus the Ace should be one hell of a match. Can't wait to see it. And
sounds good. I mean,
yeah,
it all builds up to better storylines. So why not?
No,
keep things interesting. Keep them ever changing.
Yeah, and it's just weird because we're in an era of just everybody's getting injured at the same time. It's like a season of football. Yeah, legit. It's just everybody's just getting hurt all over the place. So, hopefully they all recover. They come back soon. Oh, one last one I get off the top of my head. John Cena's coming back soon. John Cena's coming back to WWE. Yeah.
Damn, they're that desperate?
No, Cena's, from my understanding, Cena's I want to come back. And they're like, absolutely, sir. Whatever you want.
Okay, I thought he was just gonna keep doing movies at this point because he is.
He's come back and wrestled for a little bit, and then he goes off and he does movies. He's been doing that for a while.
I guess he's
not like The
break.
Rock. Yeah.
I guess he's gonna, because they're probably gonna be filming season 2 of Peacemaker soon, at some point. But I think I forgot the director's name. He's busy with
James Gunn.
Yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy right now. So,
well, John Cena does a couple things. Man does a decent amount of commercials. He does Peacemaker, and he's going to be in the next Fast and Furious as well, along with other movies.
Oh, jeez. I forgot the Fast and Furious still going.
Yeah, no, Cena's a busy guy. But he's a wrestling fan. He wants to continue wrestling.
Damn.
Which I commend him for.
Go to AEW.
He won't.
Do some shit there.
He is a true diehard WWE, ride or die, which I appreciate. I'd like to see that.
Loyalty's always appreciated.
Absolutely, and Cena being one of those guys, it makes sense. The man put the company on his back. Granted, when he was there, he sucked, but now that's just I'm the original Cena hater, guys.
Yeah.
Seeing him come back, it's always nice to see. It looks like he's gonna be feuding with Austin Theory. I'm sorry, Theory, because in WWE you lose your last name all the time now. He's going to be wrestling against Theory for the U.S. Championship, people believe. But, yeah, that's all I got for the news. So,
Cool.
Yeah. So, as always, thank you for listening to the special episode of PowerBomb Weekly. Like I said earlier in the episode, be sure to check out our other stuff on YouTube. Check out our podcast, our website at lostwiseguys.com, all our social medias, which are going to be below on the thing down there. Just look at that. While you're there, I want you to hit the like button right here. Do the subscribe, which I think is in this general area. And
they're all next to each other.
They are?
Just go in a row.
What's over here? What's on this?
There's the subscribe is all the way at the end. Then you got the like buttons, and then the save for later and shit like that. Yeah. Save to watch later.
Yeah. And then just check out everything else that we wrote down here.
Okay.
And then when you're finished, go up here where it's a search bar, and just type in Los Wise Guys again, just for the hell of it. Just see what happens. See what pops up. But yeah, thank you for watching PowerBomb Weekly, and tune in next week.